We're here in Niceville, Florida at the Northwest Florida Pest Management Conference, and we've been graciously joined by Shelia Dunning with the Okaloosa County Extension Office, and we just thought we'd take a minute and kind of go over some common questions that we get regarding springtime lawn care, pest control, things of that nature. So without further ado, we'll let Matt take the first question and go from there.
First question. Let me get it pulled up here. Okay. These are going to be questions I know I get asked every year, all the time, so it's a constant thing. Tell homeowners what to do if they see termite swarms inside of a room in their home this year, and is it an emergency situation for homeowners?
Okay, so termites will be swarming all spring long, depending on which species it is.
Mm-hmm.
They are still attracted to light, so them coming inside is not super surprising to see. Once they're in, they want to get out, so they will head towards the windows again. It is not an indication that you have an infestation, but it never hurts to do a check and make sure that that's not the case. So yes, you would want to get a hold of your pest control person, somebody that's able to do a termite inspection and verify that you don't have any softwood in the house. But otherwise, they're going to die in that windowsill. Vacuum them up.
Grits, putting out grits in lawns, kill fire ants or any other lawn ants outside in the lawn.
Grits have no bait on them, they have no pesticide on them, and they will not swell inside the body of the animal. If you're going to put out something like that, make sure that it's something that's got a pesticide on it.
Okay.
So that they will be taking it back to the queen. Ants are feeding by chewing on what they've got and then regurgitating it to the insects that are still back in the nest. Hopefully the queen, but it could be other workers. So what you really want them to do is be able to bring that chemical back up and distribute it to others. But grits, you're just feeding them.
Good. All right, what's the easiest way for a homeowner to calibrate their irrigation, and why is this important?
Calibrating your irrigation will tell you how much water is being delivered on each of those zones, and so you will know how long to run your system. It will also help you to determine if you have a good layout. Do you have coverage from your heads? So you will put out 12 to 15 small straight-sided containers, nothing too tall because you don't want it to tip over. You can use rain gauges, you can use tuna fish cans, sandwich boxes, doesn't matter. And then run whatever your time is, go back, look in each of those, use a ruler, and see how much you've got in each of those. It'll tell you immediately where you have got areas that are not getting good coverage, and if you're under or over watering, because you want a ½ inch of water in each of those containers as an average. Some will have a little more, some have a little less, but I don't want something that's got 1.5 inches and another one's only got 1/4 inch. That is a design problem.
Right.
And you're going to have to do a lot of work to fix that.
Big question we get this coming time of year, springtime, the weather's starting to warm up, people are out in their yards. We get the old dreaded question, always, weed and feed products. Why do we not, as lawn care and pest control professionals, recommend weed and feed products in our area?
Okay, so weed and feeds are either going to come with a pre-emergent or a post-emergent. If they are a pre-emergent, the timing may be pretty good for the pre-emergent if you've figured out which season it is that you're going to need it, but you're also adding a high nitrogen fertilizer with that product. So again, counterproductive. You are encouraging something to grow while you're actually trying to suppress something to grow. So doing both of those applications separately, fertilizer's not going to be taken up at the time pre-emergents are put out anyway. Mm-hmm. So you're losing a lot of that as water contamination, not as a benefit to your grass. Now, if it's a post-emergent product, you have to follow the letter of that label to a very specific detail. And so that means that some of them go on to a wet surface, some of them go on to a dry surface, and then it has to activate that herbicide. Okay. Same thing. You're putting out a nitrogen source which tells the weed to grow. At the same time, you're telling that weed to die. Whichever hormone is going to win is the one that's going to take over. And what we usually see is that you can't calibrate it to the right nitrogen level and still be putting out enough herbicide. So what you end up doing is fertilizing the weeds. So there is, with all the research that's been done, there has been nothing that has shown that it is beneficial to using a weed and feed, pre-emergent or post-emergent, with a very, very few exceptions. You do a pre-emergent that is only potassium, it is no nitrogen, and you do that in the fall for your winter weeds, that's okay. That's the only thing that would be labeled as a weed and feed that would be acceptable and actually perform the task you want it to.
Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you for your time, Shelia.
All right.
Thank you for sharing those tips. And yeah, we look forward to green lawns this summer.